Hi, everybody. Welcome to Busy Living Life. Busy Living Life. Busy Living Life. It's episode 285 episodes, and we are sponsored today by SoberLink. As we all know, addiction is a serious issue that needs to be addressed. Only 10% of those that are dealing with addiction get treatment. And SoberLink has strives to erase the stigma of alcohol addiction. Their remote alcohol monitoring tool has helped over 500,000 people to be accountable with their sobriety. Their voluntary system encourages connection and honesty, which helps to rebuild trust and maintain sobriety. I've teamed up with SoberLink to create the resource guides, tips for busy living sober for those in recovery. If you want a $50 gift certificate or $50 code to get $50 off your SoberLink device, please go to www.soberlink.com and download the resource guide, and you'll find the $50 promo code. Again, it's www.soberlink.com and then /BLS for Busy Living Sober. Thanks again, SoberLink, for sponsoring us today. It's pretty exciting stuff, but I can't believe I'm on episode 285. And it's kind of, it's crazy. So I had on a guest last week. I don't know if I'm having any more guests on. I don't know. I don't know if I like that flow. What do you guys think? Is anybody into it? Is anybody out of it? Let me know. Let me know. What are your thoughts? Or do you just like it when it's just me? I know that I talked to one of my favorite listeners, and I was like, what do you think? And she's like, I like it better when it's just you. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll just do it just me. Maybe I'll have JF on too eventually. He's too busy right now to come on the podcast, but here I am. And today's topic is reaching out for getting extra help, getting reaching for different tools in your toolbox. So as I've mentioned to you guys, I was going through this, I've been going through a tough time, but I'm like kind of at the end. It's kind of nice. I have to say, taking that time out from life was really beneficial for me. And the craziest thing is, do you know what I did while I was on vacation? Absolutely nothing. I like sat in my room. The weather wasn't that great. So I sat on the beach, caught up with old friends, and just chilled. It was just a really nice chill time. I just sat and just slept, and it felt good. And I feel like sometimes, I know most times, especially for us Americans, I don't know why this is, but we don't, or I guess most people in the Northern Hemisphere feel like you can't relax. And taking a time out is like bad. It's bad if you aren't constantly working, constantly doing something. It makes you a bad person. And I don't believe that to be true. It's for me, it's been like I've had to do different things during this time. I think just because I've been sober, as long as I've been sober, doesn't mean anything. I think sobriety is relative, totally relative in where you are each and every day. I don't think it has to do with time. I think it's like one day at a time. And there's a couple things that I want to talk about. So first off, I want to tell you all, I think I told you, but I'm going to circle back here anyway. I went to the doctor, and I have people reach out to me a lot and say, oh my gosh, I need to get sober. My family's upset with me. My spouse is upset with me. I know I need to quit, but I can't. And, my first suggestion is always reaching out to your medical professional and just telling them where you are and what's going on with you. Now, do you have to, I mean, especially if you're a daily drinker, I think you need to tell the doctor what's going on so that they can help you wean yourself off of the drugs or alcohol. And I think that being honest with your doctor, for me, it was just like telling her where I was. I had to say to her, I'm in a bad place. I'm in my head. Now, I'm also going to admit to you guys something. When I got sober, I went to meetings, in-person meetings. Obviously, there was no pandemic. This is 16 years ago. 15 and a half years ago. There's no pandemic. There's none of this crazy stuff that's going on and has been going on for the past 2 years. So I went to church basements all the time. And then the pandemic came and I went on Zoom. And I think Zoom is great and it's a great resource. And will continue to do it because there's a lot of cool people that I've met that live all over the country. And I hope to keep seeing them on the Zoom meetings. But I have to get into in-person meetings. So this is the crazy thing. Went to the doctor. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm crazy. I can't stand this. I can't stand that. I'm just like, and I feel like a lot of us get like this. I think that like it's not the drinking, it's definitely the thinking. And we get to this place that, for one, I wasn't getting what I want. I wasn't secure in where everything was in my life. And I didn't feel comfortable. So I acted out in other ways, right? And I went to the doctor. I admitted to her, I'm like, oh my God, I really want to smoke a blunt. And she kind of looked at me like, okay, really? Um, Let me up your Wellbutrin. And I was like, okay. So I upped my Wellbutrin, and I needed that to get over this hump of whatever I'm going through. I really needed it. And I feel better. I feel better. Am I going to be on this forever? No, I'm just going to be on it till I feel like I can, wean myself off of it. But for right now, I believe that we sometimes need outside help. And I don't think anybody can shame you about that. I think that sometimes we need something extra that the doctor can prescribe. I don't think it's anything to be like, oh my gosh, I can't, and to judge anybody about. I think that we've got to respect everybody and love everybody. And what everybody needs to do to stay on this path is what they need to do. And it's a priority. Is taking care of ourselves, and we don't do it, especially as addicts. And it's I really believe that when I ended up going this past weekend, I went to an in-person meeting, and I hadn't been to I had been to a couple, but I wasn't going. I think even when I was going a couple times that I'd gone since the pandemic, I was going with not a great attitude. And when I went this Saturday, I went with the attitude like a newcomer. Like I was like, I gotta go. I gotta go hear the message. I've got to go be in a room with alcoholics. I've got to go hear things that I've never heard and hear things that I have heard. But I went in to this meeting. Of course, it was in the church, and it was on Saturday morning. And I walked in and I thought to myself, I want to be able to recognize the similarities in this meeting and not how I'm different. Okay. Because I think we all do that. We compare ourselves to somebody else, right? We go, their outsides look like this, so they must be like this, or their outsides look like that, and that must be like that. And none of that's true. And because we reflect what's going on inside of us instead of, we look at that inside stuff and we realize that sometimes we're not in a great place to be looking at somebody else's, comparing our inside to somebody else's outsides. I don't think it ever really works, actually, to be honest. But anyway, so I went to this meeting and I heard the speaker, and he talked about step one. And step one is admitting you're powerless over alcohol and that your life has become unmanageable. And he talked about the unmanageability. He really went on and on about unmanageable. And he's like, I was unmanageable since I was a kid. And now I've heard that a lot of people have said that their lives were unmanageable from the very beginning, but I could never be able to really, like, I couldn't relate to it. I was like, I don't think I was unmanageable until I started drinking. I definitely was not, my life was not unmanageable until I started to drink. And I thought that up until Saturday. Okay. So that's how long it took me to realize this. So my life, and I'm sitting there thinking about my life from when I was young. And I think that ever since I was a kid, my life was unmanageable. When I really thought about it, I was like, wait a minute, I really tried to manage. So my parents didn't have the greatest marriage. So I always wanted to manage, like, is mom okay? Is dad okay? Is everybody okay? I want everybody to be okay. I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to feel good. And how was I as this little kid going to be able to manage these grownups? But that's what I wanted to do. And so always my life was unmanageable. It just it just, once I, started drinking, it just took a whole nother level. But when I was a kid, I always wanted to manage everybody else. I wanted everybody to be okay. I wanted everybody to feel okay. And that was unmanageability. And it took me this entire time to recognize that. And I went to this, and the meeting really, I went with an open mind and open heart, and I was willing. And I was willing to listen, and I was willing to participate, and I was willing to be honest, and I was willing, to be authentic. And with that, it really, I don't know, it was like all of a sudden the magic happens. And there's something that happens in church basements, and that makes, I don't know, it's like this honesty, this forthcomingness that we have, this ability to relate to other human beings and say, you know what, you're not alone. I totally get where you're coming from. I totally get what's going on with you. I felt the same exact way. And not only does it, sometimes do I hear that, but then I hear how somebody got through something that is very similar to what I'm going through, and what they did to get through it. And we learn tools, because as adults, we don't really have this tool book that we can go to. Especially, I think that it's completely honest when they say to you that, when you started drinking, you stopped your growth pattern. And for me, I started drinking at 13. So when I quit drinking at 37, I had the mentality of a 13-year-old. And I totally believe that to be true, because I stomped my feet. I wanted my things the way I wanted it. I wanted to just graduate. I just wanted to do this. I wanted to get sober and check it off my list. I wanted to do all those things. And never, and I was like, totally, I didn't even know what my favorite color was when I got sober, because I spent much time being what everybody else wanted me to be, and not being who I was. I didn't know what made me tick. I didn't know my favorite color is orange and not green. I didn't know anything about myself. I had spent so many years being what everybody else wanted me to be, that I couldn't be who I was. And alcohol just made all the feelings disappear altogether. I didn't have to feel anything. Feelings are awful. Who wants to have a feeling? Not me. Feelings have always made me feel like, and they become overwhelming, right? That's why I wanted to drink so much, so I didn't have to have these feelings. And the other thing that they used to talk about, and I've heard that that I've heard recently, is that it doesn't matter when you put down the drink. If you pick up a drink again, it'll be like you never put it down before. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing people that have that happen all the time. They go out, they pick up a drink, and they go right back to where they were. We had somebody over yesterday, and he had been sober for a little bit, and he went out, and he's like, I picked up a Jameson, I had a shot of Jameson and a beer, and I literally went right back to where I was before. It didn't matter that I hadn't had a drink in a certain amount of years. I picked it up, and it was just like I was before. And I've heard that. And when you hear people say that, I didn't really believe them, but I think it's totally true. I think that when you pick up a drink again, it's like all bets are off. You have no idea what's going to happen. And it's so cunning, baffling, and powerful, this drink thing. And it's become such a spirit in our lives that we'll do anything to have it. And we'll do anything for it to get it. We'll do anything. Yesterday I was talking to this lady, and she was like, she said something about, I said, well, I don't know. So I have some people that in my life that don't really want to go to meetings. And she's like, let me tell you something. When I was drinking, I would go to any length to get booze. And I said, well, what do you mean? She goes, I had somebody pick me up in a blizzard once in a tow truck and take me to a bar and make them open the door so I could drink. And I was an alcoholic. I didn't think that was that crazy. It's like, I totally get it. I totally get it. Don't you? You'll go to any lengths to get booze. But if it comes to sobriety, you're like, maybe not. I'm going to have a sip of my little Pellegrino. I think that we know we have a problem way before we come into before we decide to quit, right? it's like this thing on our shoulders. It's like, oh my God, I've got this thing and it's so heavy and I keep worrying about it and I want to quit drinking, but just God, I can't. It's just too much. It's just too hard. I can't do it. It can't do it. But then if you go and you ask somebody to help you and you say, you know what, I'm ready to quit, people will show up and help you. It's the craziest thing. You say, you know what, I'm ready to give it up. You go to, you tell somebody you need help, and people, 9 out of 10 people will say, you know what, I'll help you, whatever you need. What do you want me to, how can I help you? Can I take you to a meeting? What do you want to do? Do you want to go to a church? What do you want to do? And I think that we think that nobody's going to do that for us. We think that it's like, no, I got to have another one. I got to have another one. I got to have another one. And the reality is you don't need to have another one. You need to talk to your doctor, especially if you're a daily drinker, and say, what do I need to do to get off alcohol? Because I do know people that have died from going off of alcohol by themselves. They had no idea how much their body relied on the alcohol. So they had a major tremors and they died. And it's not a good idea to do it by yourself. You need to call a doctor, tell them what's up. Say, can you just help me get off some booze? I need you. And they might say, well, I want you to go to a detox for a couple of days, and just be willing. If you're willing to do anything to stay sober, you're willing to do anything to stay sober. And that means, or to get sober. And I was willing to do everything. But during those months that I was here during COVID, I thought it was okay. I'm like, Zoom's great. I love it. I'm getting everything I need out of it. The reality is, when I'm on Zoom, I'm just going to tell you honestly, when I'm on a Zoom meeting, sometimes I'm looking at my emails. Sometimes I have text messages coming in. Sometimes I'll even do a little shopping. I'll just see what's going on over here. And I'm not paying attention to the message. But if I'm in a room with people around me, I'm, for one, not going to be on my cell phone. I've just never done that my entire time I've been sober. I've never been one to pick up my cell phone and look at my cell phone during a meeting, because I kind of think it's kind of rude, I think, because the person's speaking. You don't want to be on your cell phone while they're sitting there in front of you and you're like, oh, I'm so bored, I'm going to look at my cell phone and not listen to you talk. Or somebody sharing, and again, you're looking at your cell phone and you're not going, oh my gosh, you're not paying attention. On Zoom, you can totally get distracted. And now things are opening up. And it's interesting. Today I was telling this woman, she's like, well, I haven't, I need to go to meetings. I just haven't found one I really liked. And I looked at her and I said, let me just tell you this. I did not like every bar I went to. I didn't like all the people that were in that bar. I didn't like every bar. I like to go to different bars. I like to go to different bars with different people, just like meetings. There's always one out there that you can find where you can be relatable, where you can find people that you're going to like. Find people that are like where you feel comfortable. You will find those people if you make the effort. I swear, if you bring the body, the mind will follow. If you bring your feet, you will finally find people that you like. But for me, again, it took forever. It took me getting to that place of like, I am desperate. I am self-will run riot. I am being mean to everyone. I'm yelling all the time. I'm not getting along with my husband. I'm going to these places. I mean, it just caused havoc in my life, just like booze would, literally. And I, by the grace of God, got my ass back there. And I don't want to ever do that again. I can't ever stop going to meetings again. I pray there's never another God-blessed pandemic where they're going to lock us all up in our houses again, because I think more people died of alcoholism than they did of COVID. I would bet money, and drug addiction. I mean, it's crazy. If we can't get with our peeps, God bless. It's not a good thing when we can't hang out with our people. Nobody wants to be alone. None of us are supposed to be alone. I think this is a great tool, the Zoom thing. I think it's great, but it can't be everything. What tools do you have in your toolbox? Do you get out and go? It's like somebody said to me also yesterday, they were like, you know what? To get up and get dressed and go to a meeting takes effort, right? You have to get up. You have to get on your coat, wherever you are in the country right now. I know where my son is, it's like -6. If I were there, I'd have to get up, put on my scarf, put on my boots, put on my hat, head out the door, get in the car, go to a meeting, and come back home. But I'm willing to go to any lengths. Are you? I think if we aren't, we lose everything. And people used to say that to me. They'd be like, anything you put in front of your sobriety, you're going to lose. I'm going to tell you, I was starting to lose everything. And I told you guys this. I was totally honest with you guys. I was like, hello, I'm in a bad way. My marriage, da 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 da. I could luckily tell you guys this stuff. And but I can tell you that I also just went back into a room, and I'm going to go again tomorrow. I'm going to do it again tomorrow because I got stinking thinking. As alcoholics, we are constantly thinking in our heads, we got this, we got this, we got this. I don't have anything. All I have is, I hopefully will have one more day of sobriety today. It's, it's actually Tuesday night right now at 7:30 p.m. So hopefully I'll make it through tonight, and tomorrow I'll get to a meeting and life will be good. But I have to do these certain things to keep myself sober because I'm an alcoholic and I always will be one. And time again is irrelevant. And I would go to, what length are you willing to go to? What tools are you willing? If you need a timeout from your life, as I said to you last week, I know I said this, take it. It doesn't matter where you go. Just take some time for you. Get to a meeting, go to a meeting, even though you haven't been to one. You've never been to one. You can find them all over. There's a meeting guide app. There's an app you can get on your phone, and it's got a navy blue background, and it's got a white folding chair, and it's a meeting guide, and it'll tell you wherever you are in the world where a meeting is. Try it. Try it. Because I think if I didn't go and listen to that on Saturday, I don't know where I'd be. I don't know where I'd be. I just, I need to chase my sobriety always, because I'm never going to graduate from this. I always wanted to. I always just wanted to be normal. I don't even know what normal is, but I always wanted to feel like I was okay and that I fit in. And I know for sure I fit into a room of Alcoholics Anonymous. I know that. And I know that I have to do this, and it's an hour, and I have to tell you, sometimes it's the best buck I spend all week because it's kind of entertaining sometimes. But I always hear the message that I need to hear that helps me get one more day of sobriety. And for that, I'm forever grateful. So if you're out there and you've never been to one, try a meeting. If you haven't been to one because of the pandemic, go to one, just go. If you have to wear a mask, whatever you need to do to go. But take care of you. Nobody else is going to take care of you. No one. And no one was going to force me. My husband wasn't going to force me to go to a meeting. He wasn't going to say, oh, you really need to go to a meeting. He would never do that. It's up to me. You want to go? Go. I'm a grown-up. And I finally went. And I'm not sad I did it at all. So that's where I am this week, you guys. That's where I am. That's my honest truth. I went to a meeting and I feel so much better. And God, what an hour of just being in those rooms is it's life-saving. So if you're out there, whatever tools you have in your toolbox, if you haven't quit and you want to quit, go for it. Go try call your doctor, see what you need to do. Try a meeting. I tell you won't regret it. Somebody said today, you'll never regret not taking a drink. And if you don't drink, you can't get drunk. That's another big one. If you don't drink, you can't get drunk. So you're not alone. As you can hear from me, it's constant, rigorous honesty. And I can't just rest. I have to keep doing this. And when I do this, I'm like so much happier. My life is happier. My kids are happier. My husband's happier. I'm happier. Bottom line, I'm happier. I'm not in my head going all these crazy things. So try it. Write to me. Tell me what you think of this. You could tell me you think I'm nuts or whatever, but please write to me, reach out, and know that you're not alone. Try a meeting. It doesn't cost any money. really doesn't cost $1. That's it, maybe 2, but you don't even have to give it if you don't have it. So, and you'll find people there that you can relate to that will help you along this journey. And you will never, ever regret it. I promise you. I promise you. So until next time, I'll be back next week. Do you think I should have guests on? What do you guys think? Let me know what your thoughts are. I like having friends on because let's just face it, it's fun to talk to my friends, but sometimes it's like I have other people. I'm just like, I don't know. Do we really connect? Did you hear anything you like to hear? So write to me, let me know. You can send me a message on my Instagram page, Busy Living Life. You can send me a message at my email at elizabeth@elizabethchance.com or Bizzy, Bizzy at busylivingsober.com. But reach out and know that you are not alone. And we're on this journey together, guys. We're on this journey together. You are not by yourself. I promise you that. And we got to keep doing this one day at a time, because that's all we are promised is just today. So today, take care of you, do what you need to do for you. And what other people think about you is none of your business. And we can't worry about it. All right. So until next time, keep getting busy, living life. Reach out, you guys. Take care. And I'll see you next week. Bye.